Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of Revise as Pro from Uplift Pro. And in today's session, interestingly, we'll be covering an area which is the talk of the town, I'll say, around the section F, part one, around technology and analytics. And this is something, an area which is perhaps going to be a future area of being tested more because everywhere we hear about data analytics, AI, and many other new tools that is coming up. And definitely, there is something which is going to shape up the future of our finance professionals in terms of using better tools. So definitely, this is an area which might be heavily tested in the exam. So we'll be covering a certain portion of this particular section under technology and analytics, namely data analytics. But the overall weightage of this section is 15%. And though it is a theoretical area, sometimes it may become very boring as the technical terms for a non-technical financial person like us might become difficult. But to be very honest, this is also a scoring area because if you are habituated with the terms, if you understand it, and don't try to memorize, but somewhere you are able to relate the concepts, it's actually easy peaking during the exam. So keeping that in mind, that this is going to be an area of easy scoring, let us move into what are the important things we should keep in mind around data analytics. So let's get started. So firstly, in terms of the questions that might be tested in the exam in this particular section, is that we may get MCQs covering the concepts of business intelligence, data mining, visualization, types of analytics. Now, many of these terms might be something appearing to many of us known or not much known, or in-depth knowledge might not be there. So my suggestion is that when you come to know about these concepts, it's better to understand that through examples and somewhere take a opportunity or take an, I'll say, effort to go a revision mode sometimes just by reading in these particular topics in a repeated way. That will help you to somewhere get these wordings, the terminologies in your memory, and you will not be losing a track of the things. So don't try to memorize it without understanding. That's my suggestion. Try to understand through examples. Coming into the essay questions, definitely there is a huge scope that some questions might be around strategy and application, then the needs of analytics, the types of analytics, and also certain case studies might be given to us during the exam. So we'll cover different areas under data analytics. First is big data. So what are the key points that we should remember in terms of big data? Firstly, whenever we speak of big data, it refers to data sets which are large and complex. So something a huge volume of data. And why it is required, it is used to gain insight into relationships and associations to improve decision making and strategy. So big data, something of large data sets, and basically it can be organized and organized data, and it actually helps or facilitates the decision making process. Coming into the four dimensions of big data, this is very important. Any one dimension can be given in MCQs, or the essay questions will revolve around the four dimensions. So the four V's, as we say: volume, velocity, variety, and veracity. These four words you have to keep in mind. So when we speak of volume, it refers to the scale of the data. So may just give you the word scale and say which particular property deals with this particular aspect of big data. So you have to somewhere find out, okay, this is volume. Then comes the velocity. It refers to the speed with which the big data is generated and analyzed. So speed is the key word. Variety refers to the diversity of big data, the various forms in which it is available. So the words which are bold, highlighted, those are important that we should keep in mind. Veracity refers to the truthfulness or accuracy of the data. So these are the four, I'll say, V's of big data we have to keep in mind: volume, velocity, variety, and veracity. Then coming into the data structure, it is basically structured data, semi-structured, and unstructured. We may be given an example and we asked in an MCQ what type of data structure it is. Is it semi-structured, unstructured, or structured? So you have to understand the meaning. What is that? Structured data, it is organized, easily identifiable, and traceable. So these three words are key, like the data which is organized in a spreadsheet. Then comes the semi-structured data. So it does not have neat and organized fixed fields. Something which is available might be in a XML or extensible markup language form. Then comes the unstructured data. So when we talk about unstructured data, it is just like the unorganized and it is not easily searchable. So for example, the information that is obtained from a social media feed, because it is available in plenty and we might be it is coming in an unstructured form. So that's around the data structure and around big data. Let's move further to see what we need to keep in mind. Now comes the most important aspect is the key points to remember around business intelligence and data analytics. So what are those basically things that we should keep in mind? Firstly, what is business intelligence? All applications, tools, and best practices that transform data into actionable information for better decision making and optimize the performance. Right? So that is about the business intelligence. Now, in lines to that, there might be certain questions which may be asked around the data, information, and knowledge. So let's see what are those. So data, as we know, it refers to the raw facts and figures which, when transformed, adding usefulness understanding for users, becomes information, right? And when we have information, there is knowledge. So knowledge is obtained from information, which helps us to take informed decisions through critical thinking and insights. So that is the relationship between data, information, and knowledge. Then coming to the most important aspect, data analytics. So it is a critical step in the progression of data to action. So it helps to transform data into information and identify patterns, trends, relationships, as well as the causes. So that's the importance of data analytics. If it is asked what is the usefulness of data analytics, we can highlight these particular courses of words. Then comes data analytics can be a strategic asset. Why? As it not only helps to identify new opportunities, but also evaluate and verify the efficacy of companies' practices and philosophies. So these are the things when we read a bit repeatedly, we'll be able to somewhere keep those in mind, and in something comes as a essay question, we can write that along. Then comes the next part, the types of data analytics. This is very important. We may be given an example and asked what is the type of analytics it is. So let's try to become very much familiar with this. So four types of data analytics: descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive. The first two, the descriptive and diagnostic, it generally deals with what we call the historical data. So they are actually backward looking. And when we think of predictive and prescriptive, they're forward looking because they are trying to help us in a future situation to be determined, or giving some suggestion for what the future course of action might be. So what is descriptive analytics? So it deals with the historical data and it answers the question of what is or what has occurred. So these two words are very important, that what is or what has occurred, right? For example, can be sorting, analyzing data based on age, number, location. When we talk about diagnostic analytics, it tries to identify the patterns and trends and answers why did this happen. So it's the why behind the data that is being looked by diagnostic analytics. So it tries to identify the reason behind happening of an outcome. Example, the drill down analysis, sequence checks, cluster or profile analysis. It is important that we just remember these examples because that will help us to identify what is the type of analytics it is. Then comes the predictive analytics. So it's a forward looking, as I said, tries to predict future probable situations based on historical pattern. For example, forecasting, projections, budgeting. Then comes the prescriptive analytics, which is the, I think, the highest form of the analytics, which goes beyond the predictive analytics. Based on prediction, it tries to suggest actions to take to achieve the desired outcome. And that is the talk of the town, as I was saying, artificial intelligence, machine learning. So they are trying to provide us or prescribe what can be the futuristic course of action based on the patterns or trends that are identified through predictive analytics. So these are the four types of analytics we should keep in mind, because any one of them can be given through an example and in a MCQ, or even we may be asked in a essay questions to explain the different types of analytics. Then moving ahead, the next important area for discussion is data mining and data visualization. Firstly, what is data mining? So it is used to reveal patterns, insights, and anomalies from large data sets. So for a huge volume of data, we are trying to find out patterns, insights, and anomalies. And it involves the use of AI, statistical methods, computer learning, large scale computing to assist in decision making. Then data mining also is subject to certain challenges since it is using a huge volume of data. So it has a limitation of varied data quality, data coming from multiple sources, huge data sets requiring strong computational capabilities, and also large data outputs requiring specialized knowledge to deal. So a question might come, what are the limitations of data mining? So ideally, what is here highlighted in red font is something which should be kept in mind so that we can apply to that question. then involves use of special programming language for extraction of information from database called the structured query language or SQL. So it can be given a question around SQL, that what is that specialized language which is used for the extraction of data under data mining. So you should keep in mind SQL. Then several uses in business setup for the data mining, like identifying the sales trends or determining customer purchase habits. Finally, data visualization. So it is basically the storytelling aspect. What does it do? Creation, analysis, and evaluation of data in visual forms. As we often say, that our understanding becomes more clear, more lucid when we see something visualized. So that is visualization aspect. It helps to identify and explain patterns, trends, and outliers with the purpose of making data more understandable and memorable. So these are the two words we should keep in mind in relation to visualization. What can be the different data visualization tools? Again, something can be a MCQ question or a essay question. We may be asked that can you help us with 5 types of data visualization tools, or they may just give an explanation of a wording and we have to try to understand that which visualization tool suits this particular wordings more closely. So if we look into the data visualization tools, firstly histograms, they show the distribution of numeric data. Scatter plots show how two variables are related. Tables, they list information in rows and columns, most common thing which is seen in Excel. Dashboards, they are a quick summary view of key performance indicators, and nowadays dashboard like Tableau has become very famous somewhere down the line. Then the bar charts are used with categorical data to show the proportion of data in each category to horizontal or vertical bar. So it's a graphical presentation of comparison between the current year prior data might be. Pie charts, again something very much familiar for us, that is used for categorical data to show the proportion of data in each category with slices in a circle. And finally, the line charts, which is used to show a series of data points for one variable. So interestingly, what we have seen is that the data visualization tools, these tools somewhere down the line we should must be familiar with, so that we are able to answer to a MCQ or essay question. So with that, I think we would be coming to a closer of this particular session, where we have highlighted the aspects of data analytics, starting from big data, then what is the understanding of data analytics, the types of analytics, data mining, visualization, and also the tools that are available for visualization. So I think this is somewhere a good summary for a quick revision around the topic of data analytics in the section of analytics and technology, as I said, which is our section F, part 1. And I hope that this will be helpful for you. And we are also trying to make certain insightful videos covering different sections. So please continue to follow the Uplift platform, and it would help you for your final exam preparation. Thank you.